Imagine an organization so powerful that presidents want to meet its leaders. An organization capable of making entire countries spend billions of dollars for just 1 month of football. Every 4 years, billions of people stop everything, work, school, daily life, all to watch a single tournament, the FIFA World Cup. But here's what most fans never realize. FIFA doesn't play football. It doesn't own the teams. It doesn't score the goals. Yet somehow, it makes billions of dollars from the game. Think about that for a moment. No players, no stadium ownership, no football club, and yet, one of the most powerful organizations in global sports. So how did an organization built around a simple sport become a business empire worth billions? How did it gain the power to influence governments, shape global events, and command the attention of billions of people? This isn't just the story of football. It's the story of power, money, influence, and the organization at the center of it all. This is the story of FIFA. The year is 1904. The world is very different. No television, no internet, no social media. Yet one sport is spreading faster than anyone expected. Football. Across Europe, cities are creating teams. Clubs are appearing everywhere, and crowds are growing larger every year. But there is one problem. Nobody is truly in charge. Different countries follow different rules. International matches are difficult to organize, and there is no global authority capable of bringing everyone together. A group of football leaders begins to worry. If the sport keeps growing without structure, chaos will follow. So on May 21st, 1904, representatives from 7 countries gather in Paris. Their mission is ambitious. Create one organization capable of governing football around the world. That organization becomes FIFA. At first, FIFA is small. It has little money, little influence, and almost no power. Many people don't take it seriously. Even England remains skeptical. Without support from football's biggest nation, FIFA struggles to gain credibility. But its founders have a vision far bigger than football itself. They imagine a world where football connects nations, a world where countries compete on pitches instead of battlefields. At the time, it sounds almost impossible. Travel is slow, communication is limited, and global connections are rare. Yet year after year, more countries join. Football continues spreading, and FIFA slowly grows with it. But one major problem remains: money. The organization has passion, it has ambition, it has growing membership, but it doesn't have a business model. Without revenue, FIFA cannot become powerful. Its leaders know they need something bigger, something capable of capturing the attention of entire nations. A tournament unlike anything the world has ever seen. A competition so massive that it could unite the world through football. A competition that could transform FIFA. By the late 1920s, football was growing faster than ever. More countries were joining FIFA. More fans were filling stadiums. And for the first time, FIFA began asking a dangerous question. What if football had its own global championship? Not the Olympics, not a regional competition, but a tournament where the best nations on earth competed for one trophy. The idea sounded exciting, but it also sounded impossible. Travel was expensive, communication was slow, and many football associations doubted it could succeed. Yet one man refused to give up. His name was Jules Rimet. Rimet believed football could unite the world. He dreamed of creating an event bigger than anything the sport had ever seen. An event capable of bringing entire nations together. In 1928, FIFA approved the idea. The World Cup was officially born. But a new problem immediately appeared. Who would host it? Most countries weren't interested. The cost was high. The risk was enormous. Then came an unexpected offer. Uruguay volunteered. At the time, it was one of the strongest football nations on earth. The country even agreed to pay travel expenses for participating teams. FIFA accepted. The first FIFA World Cup would take place in 1930. But another challenge was waiting. Many European teams refused to participate. The journey to South America took weeks by sea. Players had jobs. Clubs didn't want to lose them. And national associations worried about costs. For a moment, it looked like FIFA's biggest project might collapse before it even began. Yet a few nations finally agreed to make the journey. Pacific Ocean. No luxury flights, no private jets, just weeks at sea, chasing a dream. Then the tournament began, and nobody knew what would happen. Would fans care? Would it survive? Would there ever be another World Cup? Then something remarkable happened. People loved it. Crowds filled stadiums. Newspapers covered every match. And entire nations became emotionally invested. When Uruguay defeated Argentina in the final, history was made. The first FIFA World Cup was complete. Financially, it wasn't a giant success, but strategically, it changed everything. For the first time, FIFA possessed something incredibly valuable, a global event. An event that would grow larger every 4 years. An event that would eventually attract billions of viewers. The tournament that almost never happened had become the foundation of a future empire, and FIFA was only getting started. The first World Cup proved that international football could work. The second proved it wasn't a fluke. And with every new tournament, FIFA's influence continued to grow. But there was still one major limitation. Most of the world couldn't actually watch the matches. If you weren't inside the stadium, you relied on newspapers, radio broadcasts, or word of mouth. Millions followed the tournament, but only a small number truly experienced it. Then a new technology began changing the world: television. At first, televisions were rare, expensive, and available in only a handful of countries. But year after year, more families brought television sets into their homes. And FIFA quickly realized something important. Football wasn't just a sport, it was entertainment. And television could turn that entertainment into a global business. The breakthrough came after World War II. As economies recovered, television ownership exploded. For the first time in history, football matches could be watched live by millions of people at the same time. Suddenly, a goal scored inside a stadium could be seen across entire countries. A World Cup final was no longer limited to the fans in attendance. Now it belonged to everyone. And that changed everything. The audience grew larger, the excitement grew stronger, and advertisers began paying attention. Businesses realized football could deliver something incredibly valuable: attention. Millions of eyes watching the same event at the same time. Broadcasters wanted exclusive rights. Sponsors wanted their brands on football's biggest stage. And FIFA saw an opportunity unlike anything it had ever seen. For years, football had generated passion. Now it could generate profit. Every new World Cup attracted larger audiences. Every larger audience increased the value of broadcasting rights. And every increase in value made FIFA more powerful. By the 1970s, FIFA was no longer just governing football. It was managing one of the fastest-growing entertainment properties on Earth. What began as a sporting event was becoming a media empire. The numbers kept growing. Millions became tens of millions. Tens of millions became hundreds of millions. Soon, entire continents were watching together. The World Cup was no longer just a tournament. It had become a global spectacle, a product broadcasters desperately wanted. And FIFA understood exactly how valuable that product was. The organization had finally discovered the engine that would power. By now, FIFA had become one of the most powerful organizations in sports. The World Cup attracted billions of viewers. Sponsors competed for partnerships, and broadcasters paid enormous sums for rights. But there was something even more surprising than FIFA's growth. Countries were willing to spend billions of dollars just to host the tournament. At first, that sounds crazy. Why spend so much money on an event that lasts only a few weeks? The answer is simple. The World Cup is no longer just a sports tournament. It's a global stage, a chance for a nation to present itself to the entire world. When billions of people are watching, governments see opportunity. An opportunity to attract tourists, investors, businesses, and international attention. For 1 month, the host nation becomes the center of the world. Cities appear on television. Landmarks are broadcast across continents. And the country's image reaches billions of viewers. Because of that, countries compete aggressively for hosting rights. Some build new airports. Others construct highways, metro systems, hotels, and massive stadiums. The investments can be enormous, sometimes far beyond the tournament itself. But hosting the World Cup is also risky. The expected economic benefits don't always arrive. Some stadiums sit nearly empty after the tournament ends. Projects go over budget, and taxpayers often pay the difference. Critics frequently ask the same question: was it worth it? Yet despite the risks, countries continue competing for the opportunity. Because the World Cup offers something money normally can't buy: global prestige, international visibility, national pride. And FIFA sits at the center of it all. The organization decides where the tournament goes, which nation gets the spotlight, and which country earns the honor of hosting football's biggest event. That power makes FIFA incredibly influential. Presidents want meetings, governments submit bids, and entire nations spend years trying to win FIFA's approval. Few sports organizations possess that level of influence. That's why the World Cup is more than football. It's a global business, a diplomatic tool, a marketing platform, and one of the most valuable events on Earth. More than a century after its creation, FIFA had achieved something remarkable. It had transformed football into a force capable of moving billions of dollars and influencing international decisions. But the story wasn't over. Technology was evolving. New competitions were emerging, and FIFA faced its biggest challenge yet. How do you continue growing when you've already conquered the world? As FIFA grew richer, it also grew more powerful. And with power came influence. A lot of influence. By the 1990s and early 2000s, the World Cup had become one of the most valuable events on Earth. Billions of viewers watched every tournament. Sponsors paid enormous sums. Broadcasters fought for television rights. And FIFA sat at the center of it all. The organization controlled something governments, corporations, and football associations desperately wanted: access. Access to the biggest stage in sports. For decades, FIFA's growth seemed unstoppable. Every World Cup generated more money. Every sponsorship deal increased its influence. But behind the scenes, rumors were beginning to spread. Rumors of secret deals, political favoritism, and corruption. At first, most fans paid little attention. People watched football for the game, not for boardroom politics. But journalists and investigators kept digging, and what they discovered shocked the world. Allegations emerged that some officials had accepted bribes. Questions were raised about how certain hosting decisions were made. Critics argued that too much power had become concentrated in the hands of a small group of people. The accusations continued growing. And then came the biggest crisis in FIFA's history. In 2015, international investigations led to dramatic arrests of football officials. News channels around the world covered the story. For many fans, it was unbelievable. The organization behind the world's most beloved sport was now facing one of the biggest corruption scandals in sports history. Trust began to crack. Sponsors became nervous. Critics demanded reforms. And for a moment, it looked like FIFA's reputation might never recover. But something remarkable happened. Despite the scandal, the World Cup remained incredibly popular. Fans kept watching, broadcasters kept paying, and sponsors largely stayed interested. The product itself was simply too valuable. Football's global appeal proved stronger than the controversy. FIFA introduced reforms, leadership changed, promises were made, and the organization worked to rebuild trust. Yet the scandal revealed an important truth. FIFA was no longer just a sports organization. It had become a global power center, an institution capable of moving billions of dollars and influencing entire nations. The corruption crisis damaged FIFA's image, but it also revealed just how powerful the organization had become. Because even after one of the biggest scandals in sports history, the empire survived, and the World Cup continued to grow. By now, FIFA had become one of the most powerful organizations in sports. The World Cup attracted billions of viewers. Sponsors competed for partnerships. Broadcasters paid enormous sums for rights. But there was something even more remarkable than FIFA's growth. Countries were willing to spend billions of dollars just for the chance to host the tournament. At first, that sounds crazy. Why spend so much money on an event that lasts only a few weeks? The answer is simple. The World Cup is no longer just a football tournament. It's a global stage, a chance for a nation to present itself to the entire world. When billions of people are watching, governments see opportunity, tourism, investment, business, and global attention. For 1 month, the host nation becomes the center of the world. Cities are showcased, landmarks appear on television, and the country's image reaches audiences across the planet. Because of that, countries compete aggressively for hosting rights. Some build airports, others construct highways, metro systems, hotels, and massive stadiums. The investments can be enormous, sometimes costing far more than the tournament itself. But hosting the World Cup is also risky. The promised economic benefits don't always arrive. Some stadiums become underused, projects go over budget, and taxpayers often pay the difference. Critics frequently ask the same question: was it worth it? Yet despite the risks, countries continue competing for the opportunity, because the World Cup offers something money alone cannot buy: global prestige, international visibility, national pride. And FIFA sits at the center of that process. The organization decides where the tournament goes, which nation gets the spotlight, and who earns the honor of hosting football's biggest event. That power makes FIFA incredibly influential. Presidents want meetings, governments submit bids, and entire nations spend years seeking FIFA's approval. Few sports organizations possess that level of influence. That's why the World Cup is more than football. It's a global business, a diplomatic tool, a marketing platform, and one of the most valuable events on Earth. More than a century after its creation, FIFA had achieved something remarkable. It had transformed football into a force capable of moving billions of dollars and influencing international decisions. But the story wasn't over. Technology was evolving. New competitions were emerging, and FIFA faced its biggest challenge yet. How do you continue growing when you've already conquered the world? More than a century after its creation, FIFA stands at the top of the football world. The organization controls the biggest sporting event on Earth. Its tournaments attract billions of viewers. Its sponsors include some of the world's largest companies, and its influence extends far beyond football. But every empire eventually faces a difficult question: what's next? For FIFA, that question is becoming more important every year, because the world is changing, the way people watch sports is changing, and the next generation of fans is very different from the last. For decades, television was FIFA's greatest source of power. Broadcasting deals helped transform football into a billion-dollar business. But today, streaming platforms are changing the game. Young fans consume content differently: highlights instead of full matches, short-form videos instead of traditional broadcasts, mobile screens instead of television screens. FIFA knows it must adapt or risk losing future audiences. At the same